All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to Jay Knows Nothing. And remember, let me see, in one of my earlier videos, I talked about Coach Nathaniel Hackett of the Denver Broncos and letting Russell Wilson cook a little bit, you know? I mean, that was the big thing with Russell Wilson. Let the man cook. Well, there's a reason why this channel is called Jay Knows Nothing. Let's just say I was completely wrong, because apparently Russell Wilson ain't been cooking much of anything this year. The thing that's going well for him is that he hasn't thrown too many interceptions. He's only thrown 5 interceptions this year. But the problem is he's also only thrown 8 touchdown passes for the first 11 games of the season. The Denver Broncos are 3-8, and Russell Wilson has only thrown 8 touchdown passes. That ranks at the bottom half of the league. That's like 27th in the league in touchdown passes this year. So the Denver Broncos are currently 3-8 at the bottom of the AFC West. The AFC West is led by the Kansas City Chiefs, Chargers in second, and then the Oakland Raiders just above the Denver Broncos by 1 game at 4-7. During the offseason, the AFC West was the talk of the town. We were saying that all the analysts were saying that this was the best division in football. Well, currently, most certainly not. One could say the AFC East, to be honest, because everybody is at 500. Because we had a game on Thursday Night Football. Bills beat the Patriots, so the Patriots now rest at 6-6. But everybody is at 500 and above in that division. Then you can also say the NFC East. The NFC East has been one heck of a division with everybody. Philly, number 1. Then you have Dallas. Then the Washington Commanders and the Giants. So they're all sitting over 500. So, but like I said, the AFC West, I mean, it seemed like there was a big arms race, as you could say, in the AFC West. Everybody acquiring top free agents. Denver always felt like they were a quarterback away. Well, they got Russell Wilson. And then the Kansas City Chiefs, well, they lost Tyreek Hill. So everybody was thinking like, hey, Kansas City without Tyreek Hill, we're going to see what that looks like. Well, so far, they're 9-2 on top of the division, and Patrick Mahomes is still the top quarterback in the NFL and putting up great numbers. And he's on my fantasy team, so I know about that. Even before, during the offseason, I believe it was Mark Schlereth that said, the Fox NFL analyst, I believe he said that even if the Denver Broncos had gotten Aaron Rodgers, he did not believe this was a playoff team. And we all know that Aaron Rodgers, at least before the season, was definitely one of the best NFL quarterbacks, you can say, maybe even in history. I mean, his numbers have always been unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people would say Aaron Rodgers is a lot better than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is not a slouch, of course. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion. He's a great quarterback. Definitely one of the top 10, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. So with Denver, they thinking, hey, we got a hit. But so far, Russell Wilson has been pretty much a miss. Last season, he threw 6 interceptions. He had 25 touchdown passes last year in 14 games. In 10 games this year, in 10 games that he's played this year, he's only thrown 8 touchdown passes. He still doesn't have as many touchdown passes, apparently, as many bathrooms as he has in his own house. Apparently, he has like 10 to 12 bathrooms in his house, and he still hasn't passed for more than that. Now, when we look at the games that so far that Denver has played, the offense, like I said, has struggled, has been on the struggle bus. And, you know, when Russell Wilson talking about let's ride, well, they just been riding the L train. And when we look at these game results, so far this season, they've only had 2 games where they have scored over 20 points. One was a loss against the Las Vegas Raiders, when that was 32-23. The other one, they actually won the game against Jacksonville, which the end of that score was 21-17. Every game, the first game of the year against the Seattle Seahawks, they lost 17-16. The next game against Houston Texans, they won 16-9. Then they barely won. Then they won another nail biter against the 49ers, 11-10. Next was the Raiders game. Then after that, they lost in overtime to the Colts, 12-9. The next game, the Chargers, they lost in overtime, 19-16. Then there was the Jacksonville game where they scored over 20 points. Against Tennessee, they lost 17-10. They lost in overtime to the Raiders, their second time meeting, 22-16 in overtime. Just this past Sunday, they lost to the Carolina Panthers, 23-10. So only 2 games this whole season that they have scored more than 20 points. Every other game, they scored less than 20. 9 games they scored less than 20 points. As a defensive player, I would be mad too. I don't blame that lineman for getting in Russell Wilson's face. I don't blame him at all for yelling whatever he yelled to him. The offense hasn't been doing anything. And this, I mean, you're not going to win many games where you're not even averaging 20 points a game. You're going to end up with that 3-8 record. You're going to end up where they are now at the bottom of the division. All Russ and the Denver Broncos are cooking is going to be in the offseason. That's what they're waiting on, for the offseason to come, see what type of moves that they make, because otherwise this season is pretty much done. And Baltimore is pretty much going to, I believe Baltimore is going to put the nail in the coffin this Sunday. So, all right, well, that's my take on the whole Russ. That's my take on Russ and the Broncos. Man, like I said, I was wrong beforehand about letting Russ cook. In the past, Russ would be cooking. This year, he's not cooking. So, hopefully, when this season is over, he'll have more touchdowns than the amount of bathrooms that he has in his house. So, all right. I thank you all for tuning in to Jay Knows Nothing. And I'll see y'all next time. Deuces.